good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and welcome to another NerdTube Star Trek episode review. I am Major Rage, and I am joined by our host Trekkies, our main crew, Cousin Cheeto to my right. How are you this evening, sir?
I am excited to talk about Next Generation Season 8, Episode 1.
Right? And below us is Zam. How are you this evening, sir?
It's Star Trek, so this is officially the greatest day of my life.
Sounds like you guys liked it. Do we have any overall thoughts about this next gen reunion?
Just that, I mean, it's pretty much delivering what it told us it would be. I mean, it's the beginning of TNG Season 8. It's not a bad thing. I'm not criticizing that. I mean, I do like the fact that we're doing a little bit of a slow build in this we're not just getting like every member of the original cast in the first episode. I know a lot of people were hoping for that, like, oh, we're gonna see Geordi and we're gonna see Worf and we're gonna everybody in the first. It's like, no, let's. I mean, I don't want people to start coming in like on the second half of the season, but like maybe start gathering the crew up like by second or third episode, and then after that, then have everybody forget together for the entirety.
Yeah, for me, I'm not sure if I would call this episode the Next Generation until we have the entire Next Generation on screen. So I'm only having like two additional members in Riker, who actually we've seen in Picard before, and Beverly. Doesn't warrant the title of Next Generation, but if that's my only nitpick, then then there's nothing to worry about so far regarding this episode.
Okay, sounds like.
Sorry, I will add one more thing. I'm not sure if Marina Sirtis is going to be in this series because the way Riker spoke about her earlier in this, I think she might be the only member who's not in this season.
No, she's confirmed to be there.
Okay, fair enough.
But I think you're right. I don't know if she's actually going to have I don't think she's going to have like a pivotal role in this. I think she might show up later, maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, no problem. Just want to quickly say hello to our resident communicators here. Triquarter number 1 is Daniel Vance. Hello, Daniel Vance. Ignoring any comment of mine, I have tons of notes. Use what sparks joy. Thank you very much. And of course, Mr. System 96. Top of the evening to you. All right.
Thanks for being here, fellas. So I guess.
So shake that ring rust off you, yeah.
A little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, shake it off you, and let's get this show on the road, yeah.
So yeah, we'll start with like an overview of the episode. We'll stop for you guys' thoughts, and then we'll hit it with marks at the end. We start on our cold open with "I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire" playing by the Ink Spots.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yep, the same thing they used for the Fallout 3 intro. Sorry.
Okay. Never really got into those games, but fair enough.
So we see a ship in a nebula approached by another. We pan through the seemingly crewless ship. There are, items shown that are kind of Easter eggs, and also breadcrumbs to lead us to the identity of the captain. It turns out it's Beverly Crusher. She's running from something or someone. She locks a crewman away, gets a rifle. We're less than 3 minutes into this thing, and Cheeto gets his pew-pews.
I was thinking to myself, yeah, Cheeto's going to be fucking happy now. We got our pew-pews. Yeah, we can't complain now. This is going to be an above average rating for him for sure.
Okay.
He's like, how did I get this reputation? Like, no, why did we have to have it so early on? I don't know. She fights them off, but she gets shot and hurt. Her gun announces that it's out of ammunition.
Right.
Did that bother you guys?
Everything's
my
Siri nowadays, isn't it? It's fucking got Siri on your gun. You got fucking Siri everywhere. So yeah, it didn't bother me at all.
It didn't? Huh. It bugged and amused me at the same time. She manages to send a message off encoded. We cut to Chateau Picard, where Jean-Luc is planning a trip with Laris off-world. She talks as they pack away his things, and he talks about giving them away, like a portrait of the D to Geordi. She speaks about how his his legacy or identity can be forged just as much by his past as his future, and that it's not necessarily a bad thing to look at the past. And I think that they're setting up what's going to be his kind of character arc for the final season, with that, figuring out what his legacy is.
It's interesting that he's not really that nostalgic, really. He's always looking ahead, even at an age where you would think people would be nostalgic. Just naturally it comes, for being that old. But no, he's willing to give away all his possessions, and he's looking forward, which is a very unique take on somebody of his age. Just a couple of comments I want to quickly read here before we move on to whatever everyone's
he's willing to give it all up for that sweet Romulan ass, is what that is.
Yeah, well, she's offering it to him, and he ain't taking it. Savick being the captain of the Titan after leaving the Enterprise. You mentioned, by the way, about the decommissioning the Enterprise F. We never even got to fucking see it.
Wait a minute, they're decommissioning the Enterprise F. Like what? It seems like the Enterprise the original Enterprise was in service for like what, 30 plus 40 years almost. Like,
yeah, and the E has only been around for like 5-6 years.
I think the B got decommissioned after like 20-30 years. Like C was destroyed, D was destroyed, E was, don't remember the canon reason.
He had 3 movies, and then that was it really.
So I thought, why would the F be already decommissioned? Like, why wouldn't they just, like, even timeline wise, I don't think that makes sense. Like, the F should be new at this point, or at least, maybe not new, but like,
we see a plaque that mentions Corelli 5. That mission was classified, which helped Picard, where he was taken captive in the TNG Alliance to find an imposter among his fellow captors. Was that the one where him and Beverly and I forgot who else was with them? Was it Worf? They all
that's
black outfits.
Command.
Oh fuck!
This is the one where he's like locked in this prison, and there's the guy from the constant surrender race, and young Folian opposite.
I remember
the carnivore. And he's starving, and he only eats flesh.
Yeah, I remember that one. It ended up being the cadet who was the insider. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Crusher's ship name is the SS Elysios 12. Is it Elysios? I'm saying Elios. Sorry, I apologize. Is the Athenian god of mercy, clemency, compassion, and pity. Oh, okay. Learn something new. I learned something new today. All right, let's move the fuck on.
Later in his study, Picard gets a message on his classic iconic comm badge. He decrypts it with the Myriad Codex, and gets a message from Beverly saying, gives coordinates, uses the word Hellbird, much to Picard's perplexedness, and says to trust no one, kind of like in a bad spy movie. Get the clandestine message.
Starfleet.
No Starfleet.
This is the thing recently, but Starfleet's becoming like something that's kind of dodgy, as we say in the United Kingdom. Like Starfleet should be an entity that you can rely on, but recently they've been portrayed as a bit twisted. So interesting. It must be a higher up, which is why Beverly, in my opinion, doesn't want anyone trusting Starfleet. Actually, only wants to trust in somebody she knows instead of Starfleet as a whole.
Yep, sounds like we're gonna get more of those bad faith admirals.
And this is probably my first, this is probably
we don't know yet.
my first gripe with the show so far is like, as soon as she said no Starfleet, I'm like, oh god, here we go. Like another like Starfleet's the bad guy or something. And I mean, or maybe not Starfleet's the bad guy, but it is like it's a trope. You know what I mean? Like
maybe it's the belly worms. Maybe it's the belly
Well-
worms from the end of season 1 of TNG.
all coming full circle. Season 1. What was that? Season 1 finale?
That was season 1 finale, yes,
Season
sir.
1 finale
that
coming
they
around.
never mention ever again. So
Well,
it's high time. But I think we're being more clever than the writers at this point.
I'll go with your notion, Cheeto, if it ends up being like that. But for now, I'm just keeping an open mind regarding how this pans out.
So Picard he goes and confides in Laris and tells her about the situation. He reveals that Beverly kind of cut communications with everybody 20 years ago, but Laris breaks down the situation for him from like an intelligence operative point of view and tells him that he has to go.
A Romulan point of view, I'm thinking more, regarding the trust.
So he meets Riker at Guinan's bar. No appearance from her. So, I mean, but they had her last season, so it makes sense, we get the review.
Yeah, but just so you know, I'd rather they not mention that it was her bar and just a random bar, because now you're going to mention it's Guinan's bar. I want to fucking see Guinan. You can't just mention. Yeah. I mean, there's more than one fucking pub in the universe, or even on Earth. Go to another place, like for fuck's sake, it have to be Guinan's. Jesus Christ. Anyway,
there's only one bar in the universe, and it's Guinan's bar.
It's Guinan's bar. They're selling novelty miniature starships, but the Galaxy class aren't moving. The young bartender calls it the fat ones, much to Riker's chagrin.
Listen, I agree 100%. I'm not a huge fan of the Galaxy class. I think the Excelsior class is like peak design for starships. I'm sorry, the Excelsior class, Defiant class, Akaran class, Nova class, like all those. Yeah, I could see. Like the Galaxy class is just like a big saucer dish with a handle. I think Mage is about to kill me.
No.
Oh.
I love it when you get on about the starships. When we get there, I'm looking forward to your take on the Neo Connies.
Also, by the way, we got reference to something I think in the future will be Cheeto's big deal, big thing. Once he figures out what it is, Frontier Day. I'm sure he's going to name a fucking a YouTube page or one of our YouTube videos Frontier Day in the future, or a fucking podcast. We're going to call it Frontier Day. It's just right down your alley. But nevertheless, Frontier Day was referenced several times in this episode. So I do feel at some point it's going to play a part.
Oh yeah,
sure. Everything's probably going to come to a head on Frontier Day.
Yeah.
So, turns out Hellbird is a reference to the virus that arbitrarily added 3 to the end of every digit during the events of Best of Both Worlds. Picard didn't get Beverly's hint because he was locutus then.
When you mentioned the 3, I thought it was that episode where they were in a time loop, and at one point they were leaving messages to their previous selves by leaving the number 3 everywhere, and then Data realized it was the number 3 on the 3 pips on Riker's neck, and so he went with his option instead of going. Yeah, and they lived. And I thought it was something to do with that, but no, it wasn't. I had to watch the episode the second time to truly understand it. I know I come across as a thick fuck.
Even then, I barely picked up what they were saying. They kind of rushed through that little part and took their time with parts that are kind of fairly obvious.
Just a couple of comments from Vancy here.
Nice.
F was being decommissioned due to her last mission where she took critical damage to all systems. The official log mentions the incident's name, but I don't recall it offhand.
what official log did I miss something? Was there an official log in the episode that I missed about the Enterprise F, or is this like is there like a prequel comic or something like that?
Maybe it was in Disco. Maybe it was mentioned there. Theory: this is all has to do with TNG emergence, where the ship becomes sentient and uses the crew's log to create a new entity. Holodeck episode on the Orient Express. Well, a sentient ship has already been done with what they got on Disco. Would this be an evil sentient ship? Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, okay.
So Riker adds 3 to each digit of the coordinates, and they finally get an actual destination, the Ryton system, which is on the edge of Federation space.
Which I think the Lyton system is. The Lyton system's got to be something. I remember the Lyton system from something.
Ooh.
That one I remember. It's the Ryton.
Oh, the Ryton. I'm sorry.
Ryton.
I'm going to show this at the end of this. Thank you for that, by the way. I'm going to show this link at the end of the play-by-play.
So Riker wonders why Bev cut ties with everyone. He tells Jean-Luc that he's coming along, whether he likes it or not, basically, and he has an idea of how to get them a ship. We cut to Metalis Prime, where a cloaked and hooded figure walks through a Blade Runner type city.
Yeah, Jesse Gender called it that. Cyberpunk, Blade Runner on acid, Rave City, and stuff like that. And she ends up talking to fucking Drax.
I honestly, well, go ahead, Mage. Go ahead and finish your stuff.
No, so it turns out it's Rafi, and she's surprise, scoring drugs. Speaking of, did you hear the announcement in the middle of this kind of sequence where they go, Termarian drugs for sale?
But I mean,
no wonder they talk like that, right?
I saw people getting high in various ways. Like, I think there's one woman had some smoke blown in her eyes, and she was getting high as fuck.
But I just, why do they have to add the idea that the guys who talk in metaphors have drugs? I don't know why it has to be so dark and gritty. Rafi, she's scoring drugs. She ends up, she's confiding that her life's fallen apart to her dealer. 7 left her. She got kicked out of Starfleet again. She wants info to get back in, and she starts pressuring her dealer, to, give her information about this stolen technology from the Daystrom Institute that could be, turned into a weapon. He crushes her hand, but then readily takes her money and gives her just a name, the Red Lady.
What was the name of that fucking time traveler who ended up being Michael Burnham's mum in season 2 of
The Red Angel?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. That.
Interesting piggyback off of what you were saying, Mage. Raffi mentioned stolen stuff from the Daystrom Institute. Lore and Moriarty were both stored at the Daystrom Institute. Moriarty's cube was damaged. Damaged when the Enterprise D crashed in Generations. He and countless lost their daughters due to the damage. Novel, The Light, fantastic. So maybe they're bringing a novelization into canon. I don't consider novelization canon. I know, kill me, but I mean, but if they bring it into canon, I'm all for it. But until it's on the screen or mentioned on the screen, I don't consider it canon. But maybe they are. Maybe they're bringing that into canon.
After the dealer sends her away and says to not show her face around ever again, Rafi calls her handler. It turns out that she's working for Starfleet Intelligence, and she hasn't fallen off the wagon. She
came close, though.
She came close. She struggled with it, but she didn't use, and she dropped the shit. And so good on Rafi.
Well done, Rafi. I know how it feels.
So we cut scenes at a starbase. We see Picard and Number 1 approaching They end up boarding the Titan, which has been retrofitted into a refitted into a Neo Constitution class starship. We get some beauty shots of it, you know.
Very much Star Trek motion picture like, isn't it? Some of those sounds.
Yes.
And I recognized a lot of the music that they played in here. There was Search for Spock in there, like some of the music from Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock. The space dock music was definitely in there.
Insurrection was in there as well. Like when he was reminiscing and he was holding that one sort of stick, and I heard the music from Insurrection where he had that love affair with that woman on that planet.
He didn't really have a love affair. Like he didn't.
Yeah, but I mean, he had some sort of flirtation. With her.
I mean,
I mean, but the music
but
was
also,
there when,
First Contact was also with. I heard the da 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 da. God, First Contact like the soundtrack of First Contact just blows everything out of the water.
This whole season should be called Nostalgia Bait. I mean, Star Trek Picard, the nostalgia bait.
But I think now they're doing it right. Like, like in season 1 when you had Hugh, it's like that was a waste. Like, let's be real. Like, when we got Hugh, the Borg turned human, like that was a waste of nostalgia bait. But it's like in this, it's like they're actively honoring the source material, or not the source material. They're actively honoring like the canon, and they're not trying to do like something completely different that it seems completely foreign.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't think I'm digging it as much as you guys, but it's not dragging it through the mud or anything. It's not, gouging Icheb's eye out for no reason or anything like that. But I still don't think it's being handled well. So Riker has a cunning plan to, do a ruse and get them to reroute the ship while they're on board for a fake inspection.
Can I just interrupt you? But I kept meaning to say this before I forget. But do you think Riker should be an admiral by now?
He retired. The reason he retired before he could become admiral because of his son. Remember the whole thing with his son in season 1?
Okay. So he never got a chance to become admiral.
Yeah, because he technically, and not really retired. He was inactivated or what, and like he basically took his leave and never came back. Really, is what it was.
Yeah.
So
he feels too old to be a captain and at the sort of right age to be an admiral as well.
He's like a captain emeritus at this point.
Yeah, he's like Captain America. Like he's not actually a captain, but he's.
I said
captain.
Emeritus. Sorry, like a professor emeritus, where they don't actually teach or write anymore, but they're still a professor.
The Captain America comparison, I think, works too.
It's very good too. Yeah.
I think that works. Yeah, but still, I mean, but about the so I know, Mage, you were going to say I want to hear about Cheeto's thoughts on the Neo-Connie.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like it. I'm not a fan of the Constitution class because of how like thin-necked and like thin, like all the thin and all. I'm not a fan of it. I'm kind of glad that the Enterprise and Beyond got like totally destroyed. You know what I mean? Like because it attacked all of its weak points. With the Neo-Connie class here, it doesn't, except for maybe the nacelle arms, it doesn't really have that like really thin, like fragile looking structure that kind of makes no sense. So I actually like the Neo-Connie class a lot better than I like the actual Connie class. So I'm actually digging it. I really like it, and I'm glad they did something with it. I still think the Excelsior's peak Starfleet design, just saying. But
I like the front of like the bottom body section. It looks kind of like one of the medical ships or a science ship, almost from TNG era.
It reminds me, actually, the bottom part kind of
like
reminds me of like the refit Excelsior class.
Okay.
Ginger Greek, the episode is very good in my opinion, but we'll get to that later.
The episode's excellent. But then again, so was season 2's first episode. You know,
And
they were
then
pretty good, and then it fell off a cliff. So I'm still, you know, regardless of them going full on nostalgia with season 3, I'm remaining extremely skeptical because you know it still needs to be good, regardless of bringing back all of the old hits. And that was a tongue twister.
it's put itself between a rock and a hard place because it's so easy to mess this up, and it's going to be so hard to have done it right. And we'll see if, like you, Zam, I like the beginning of season 2. I also like the beginning of season 1, but I feel like they just kind of got worse and worse as both of them went on, and I'm scared that's going to be the same thing with season 3.
I thought season 1 was shit from start to beginning, but I mean, sorry, let me get rid of this fucking beeps. I actually stopped watching season 1 after maybe 2 episodes because I thought it was so terrible. But then I realized if I don't watch this, then there'll be a bit of Star Trek that I haven't seen, and if anything from this Star Trek ever gets used in future Star Trek, you know, from other series and stuff, I might not realize. So it's important that I watch the season, and it was fucking shit. But then again, usually sometimes first seasons can be the real deal, and then it's very hard to match that in future seasons. Or sometimes the first season is like a prototype season. It's like a trial season where they end up getting everything right in the second and third and fourth season. You know, so it looks to me that this is what Picard's kind of doing. They're getting things right with the latter seasons, and I'm hoping it's the case with season 3.
Bad first season's almost Star Trek tradition.
Yeah.
Point.
I think Strange New Worlds is the
exception that proves.
Strange New Worlds Lower Decks. I
would say the original series, as well. You know, definitely.
I think the second season. I believe I got to go back and look at the episode list, but I believe the second season was probably better. Third season was awful, but yeah.
No, I just don't think the first season was bad. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You know, maybe the second season could be better, but I still think the first season is good enough. You know. Yeah.
So they mention, Riker does, that the captain's going to be a hard sell for this reroute plan, that he's not a friendly face, but that the first officer is. They get on board, and we get the reveal that it's 7 of 9, or Commander Annika Hansen, since Shaw doesn't like her going by her for designation.
Yeah, my man is fucking dead naming 7 and 9. How about that, huh? Yeah.
Well, he's obviously got a problem with Borgs and ex-Borgs.
I was about to say, he really made a point of saying an ex-Borg. I wanted Riker to get up and knock him out right there, and they could put him in like a storage container and then just hijack the ship.
Yeah, this particular captain, like, you've always seen captains who come across have their own way of doing things. Like, we're talking captains who you don't necessarily see too often. But this is like proper, like this. There's no redeeming qualities of this captain. He's
a bad mix of Captain Lorca and Captain Jellicoe. The worst mix of those. Yeah, the worst of both.
I like Jellicoe. I think he got a bad rap.
No, but that's why I'm saying it's the worst parts of Jellicoe and the worst parts of Lorca, which Lorca was with. Spoilers.
I don't even like to even compare use those guys as a comparison to him. This guy is quite unique. I mean, what he did with Riker, and I'm sorry for jumping ahead. What he did with Riker and Picard by putting them in mess rooms to sleep in, bunk beds, for fuck's sake. I mean, you don't do that, and start eating before they even get to the dining table, and basically taking the piss out of Picard's gift to him. There's no redeeming qualities for this guy whatsoever.
He's a pretentious douche. He rags on Jazz to Riker.
And that's why I was kind of like, oh, I hope this guy gets. I can't remember the name of the first officer from Voyager. But I'm like, oh, I hope he gets first officer from Voyager, just gets killed in the first episode. We got to make room for Chakotay, Because here's the thing, like I'm if this captain wasn't as much of a hard ass as he is, like I can understand, as I said, being like a Lorca or a Jellicoe, but this guy, yeah, Zam's right. I mean, he's just mean, like cruel, like just it's
Yeah, he's
disrespectful
insulting
for,
them for no reason.
Unpleasant, yeah.
and so it's almost like like yeah, let him die, let Riker take over the Titan again, or have Seven take over as captain, one of the two. I mean, technically Riker's there, so he's a captain. Picard's an admiral, but he's retired, so it's like I would feel it would fall on Riker to become captain technically, and that that's your way about.
It's not a ship. They can't mutiny the ship, can they? I mean, they did the best they could, though. Like, they basically stole a shuttlecraft, which is good enough. It can get you around most of the universe. So,
yeah,
they're in good stead. I mean, they'll have what do you call it, a replicator in there and a place to piss in and stuff like that. So they're fine.
Yeah. They can just open the
I mean,
window, piss while they drive.
Yeah. So.
When they get to the bridge after making a show of doing some inspection in the hallway and Seven warning them about Captain Shaw again, we meet the helmsman of the new Titan. It turns out that it's Geordi's daughter, Sydney.
Oh God, they've done this again, haven't they?
Yeah.
They have done this again. Like, how many times is that? Oh my, somebody's kid, is fucking rocking fucking.
They're doing the same thing they did in Generations, like, because remember when they got on the Enterprise B, it was being helmed by Sulu's daughter. But here's my that's not my issue. Whatever, put baby LaForge on the bridge there. That's fine. I don't care. My issue is that 7 of 9 didn't correlate the fact that she knows Picard. She knows that LaForge was, Picard's chief engineer. That she didn't correlate the fact that Picard would know LaForge, Ensign LaForge. Was it Ensign or Lieutenant? I think it was Ensign.
Ensign. Ensign, yeah.
So I just, and especially with Seven's Borg processing, I like photographic memory. Like, I feel like she would know that Picard and Geordi LaForge worked together, and she would I feel she would put the 2 and 2 together. But it's a nitpick, but still.
She has a cute nickname, Crash, because she crashed shuttles while at the Academy twice. Riker points out, kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, Riker really threw under the fucking bus, didn't
he? Yeah, he did. They're trying to make him seem like an old dude, though. It's like, old man Riker likes to embarrass kids in front of people.
Riker only rags on you if he likes you, though.
Yeah. Riker's a ladies' man, and he's a man's man.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Picard has Commander Hansen take them out. We get the beauty shots of the Titan. Picard and Riker continue to kind of act like the odd couple throughout the episode, and I think that's kind of the best part of this show so far is just those two's chemistry on screen.
Liquor in the front, poker in the rear. Welcome back, by the way. It's good to see you again, and hello to you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Picard. And by the way, you know who likes playing poker? Riker. Yeah, did you see that meme, by the way? That meme, like, they showed all these different people playing poker with Riker. Like, you had the android, you had Geordi LaForge, who's got a visor who could see through things. You got the telepath in Diana. And yet somehow the best player the best poker player is fucking Riker. I found that very funny.
Well, here's the thing: Deanna's an empath, and I know I'm being too.
Okay, yeah, I know. But the point is,
however, yes, they
reading emotions can help you as a poker player.
That is true. You are 100% correct on that. However, it's really weird though that I think Beta Zeds can communicate telepathically, right? Like, they can communicate telepathically between their species, but they can't but they can only read emotions of other species or something like that. Like, it was always weird. I was like, that's a weird caveat to that, but
yeah, the rules with Beta Z powers are weird for sure. So the captain invited them to dinner, and we get the scene that we kind of already talked about. I don't really think there's any more takeaway than what we already discussed.
What the fuck was that captain eating, by the way? Yeah,
I
it looked like
did not even see.
like some
It
sort
was
of
just
like
it was some
vegan
pretentious
steak.
Frenchy food, yeah, and he's got his very proper thing of sauce and dips it around in there.
I could
You know,
never
what did you?
start. I could never start until people come along. That's just me. I don't know about you guys.
No, I
I
mean
have to.
it's rude. It's rude to start.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, actually, just the other day, I took my daughter out for Valentine's Day, and then they brought my food before her food. Well, they brought her food, but they brought her the wrong food. So I had to wait until they brought her food for me to start eating because I was like, she's like, well, why don't you eat? And I'm like, I'm waiting for them to bring your food. Like it's just rude. I mean, unless you're literally like you just got out of a desert and you're starving to death, like that's the only exception I would say.
Being like British and Asian, like this is where like my cultures kind of clash, because in my Asian culture, like we don't eat unless we're all together to eat together. If I'm eating, you're eating. I'm not going to eat alone. But it's a bit different like that amongst the Brits. They're happy to have a fucking 4-course meal right in front of your face if you're not eating yourself. And I always found that a bit weird, Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I just thought I'd mention that.
Virtual Trek Con Raid. Hello, Mage, Cheeto, Zam, and all. Hope everyone is well. We are also doing well with Star Trek being back. We are all very happy at least the three of us on this channel. We are all very happy.
I'm very happy. Yeah, I'm just hoping, because I'm being very skeptical, that I'm just hoping that this season of Picard will continue and finish as good as it started.
Sounds like you're cautiously optimistic.
Oh yeah,
I am too. I mean, I thought season 2 was much better than season 1, but still, I mean, Picard has earned our skepticism. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, like Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, they get a pass where it's like we can be optimistic about those because they've been good. Discovery's been better, so it's like I'm okay with being a little optimistic with that. Picard has a lot to prove this season, and I know it's the final season, so
maybe it'll have one of those we can do what we want because of not getting worried about renewal, so we can actually tell the story we want to tell and it'll come out good. I haven't seen anything to indicate that yet, but
here's the thing. I really think that's dangerous because a lot of I don't know who the directors are and the writers are on this season, but I really feel like that this could be a bad news bears situation. Like letting directors do whatever they want, because with Trek, that's how we got season 1 of Picard. Like that was completely somebody just having creative freedom and doing whatever they wanted, and it's like they did stuff that just didn't work. Anyway, sorry.
Hello, Jim. He has watched the episode 4 times. That's Jim for you.
Did he watch it or listen to it? See, there's a difference.
Yeah. Even listening to it would be good. But I watched it the first time, but I had to do some work whilst watching it the second time. So I was like half watching it and mainly listening to it.
I watched it about a time and a half. I watched it for a little bit before I got through it one time, and then for a little bit I watched it again, like the first half of it, I think, up to Space Dock. Anyway,
you got what you came for. You got the Neo Connie beauty shots, and you were done with the second view.
Yep.
So they leave. Seven kind of glares at them as they walk down the hallway, discussing how they have no other plan short of mutiny. They're kind of boned. She's obviously kind of figuring out that they're up to something, but she doesn't know what.
I just also want to quickly add that captain as well. Like, there's always a captain who has an issue with people who are like, adventurers, like the previous Enterprise crew and this Enterprise crew. they always have an issue with them. You know, like you're always gallivanting and causing troubles and having a ruckus. And
even Janeway had an issue with it though, because she would always well, I think there's either one or two mentions of where she would say about Kirk. She's like, "Oh, back then it was like the Wild West." It's like, "Oh God, Janeway, just please."
I'm thinking to myself, have you not been watching yourself, whilst you're in the Delta Quadrant?
I was about to say,
Right. Well, she's almost the queen of pot kettle black.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then she became orange is the new black. So, anyways.
Good one, Sam. Nice.
Yeah.
So we cut to Rafi, who has this text and voice only debrief with her disembodied handler that she's never seen face to face, and who ends up throwing her past in her face after she bears her soul to them.
I actually have a theory on this. You guys want to hear my bonkers theory on that, though? And I've given this theory before, but now I'm even more convinced. And as I said, if I'm wrong, I mean, it's totally out there. But I bet you it's Julian Bashir, because he's always had that Section 31 connection. And also, he pulled up her record from Starfleet Medical.
That's a separate medical database. That's protected by
Okay, my theory
is stuff.
Is the very people that are maybe coming after Beverly is the person communicating with Rafi.
I mean, that's thematically that's probably what it is. Yes, or maybe Bashir is the bad guy. Maybe Bashir is the one pulling the strings.
You know what? I really hope for your sake. I really genuinely hope it's Bashir.
I do too.
I can't see it whatsoever.
Listen,
if it is him,
Bashir sold out the entire Federation in DS9 because he ran the numbers, and there was less.
There was less loss of life if they just lost the war then and ended the war. And he was thinking of the greater good. And then he has his whole neurodivergent, think tank. Those characters work on the plan and everything. Love that episode.
Yeah, it's a great episode, but it's like, you know what? Bashir was right there wasn't he? He was going to sell out the whole Federation for. I don't think he was going to, but he was right there with them. He's like, you know what? Because he actually didn't he bring the proposition to Cisco? Yeah, he did. He brought it to Cisco, and Cisco said you're crazy. So,
well, look, like I said, if it is that'll be one of the greatest twists of all time. Obviously, you have to monologue in it, do some exposition to explain himself, because you would need an explanation. But nevertheless, I hope it turns out like that. Just can't see it, but I hope it is. I hope I wanted to come out of left field and go, oh my God, Cheeto, you were right all along. This bullshit theory of yours came out to be true, And it's not the first time, by the way. You pulled the rabbit out of the hat a couple of times. So
have I?
We'll see I can't remember what they were, but they were kind of surprising. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, sorry. Keep going, Mage.
So Riker and Jean-Luc, we get revealed their accommodations, some lower decker bunks.
They
can't sleep. We have a joke about having to get up and piss in the middle of the night because you're old.
Oh, mate. Yeah, I'm doing that already.
He's not wrong.
Also, speaking of lower deckers, going back a little bit and just side tangent, or side note, there was a California class in the background behind the Neo Constitution class, Titan A. Back behind it, you could see a California class back there. Okay, keep going.
I thought I saw it.
Oh, so Jim is saying this. He's saying it was great. Lots of other reviews are ripping the first episode apart. Are they?
Well, that's because we are the only review that matters, and they're all jealous. So that's why they're ripping it apart. They're trying to get their name out there because they are not the epic center of your Star Trek needs. NerdTube, right there. See it right there.
Well, I was watching Jessie Gender's review before this, and she seems to be very happy. And there was the other dude with only 200 something subscribers, and I thought I'd give him a watch. And I left him a comment with lots of profanity on his video, not towards him, just basically explaining how I felt about the episode. I layered it with F-bombs and C-bombs, and
that's just
exactly. And he seemed to be okay with the episode too. He had his gripes with it, of course, that we all do. but he seems to pretty much enjoy it as well. So I'm kind of
Daniel
surprised.
Vance, the Captain Menard himself, he also enjoyed it. I saw that on Facebook. So
Daniel Vance, you mean Vance Major?
no, yeah, Vance Major. I'm sorry, I don't know, like Daniel Vance. Yeah,
There's all these
Captain
fucking
Menard,
Vances, man.
Vance Major.
Yeah.
I know, I
Yeah.
get them mixed up because
They would
their
make a
names
great
are very similar.
they'd make a great before and after puzzle on Wheel of Fortune.
Listen, if I ever make my own AI intelligence, I'm naming it Daniel Vance. Okay,
Yeah, me too.
or it's called DV, but still,
DV, yeah.
it'd be my
He's
own.
Cheeto.
7 calls the guys up and has them report to her, and she's very angry. She says, "Tell me what's going on, or I'll throw you out the freaking airlock." Riker's like, "Whoa, you don't talk to an admiral like that." She goes, "That I talk to my friend like that." Yes, Cheeto.
By the way, they had a perfect opportunity to throw an F-bomb in here and make all the Trekkies mad. Say, "There's no fucks in Starfleet and Star Trek," and they didn't. They passed it by. But there was a perfect opportunity right there for a fuck.
I've always said, I'm not sure if I told you this as well. I've told this to Cheeto, but in Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home, when they brought that woman who does the whales, when they brought her back to the future, she basically, her influence from the past, and being somebody from the 20th century, kind of had an effect on everyone else because she was F-bombing all the fucking time, and she was saying F-bombs, C-bombs, shit words, all these sort of stuff.
I don't
And
think
that's why people now. No,
she's
but nevertheless,
American. She's not.
yeah, okay, but nevertheless, her being in the timeline, in the futuristic timeline, it started making people swear more often.
And you know what? That's a fine theory, but it's like I don't care that they
Bit
drop
like Steve
an F-bomb
Rogers.
every now and then. Like I always hated it when people like got bent out of shape about an F-bomb here and they're like, I understand if they like if they started dropping F-bombs like like we do, like every other word, then I could be annoyed and be like
No, but you got it's not about being like clutching your pearls to it. It wasn't that for me. The point is that if you have a series where where people don't even know anything about profanity, which was what was with the original series crew, which is what we saw in Star Trek 4, and all of a sudden now everyone's dropping profanity like anything. It needs to you need to somehow explain that to a degree, so that's why my theory is that lady from Star Trek 4, the whale woman, her coming back to the future has basically had an effect on everyone. Steve Rogers, for instance.
That whale woman phrase there, buddy.
I don't know what else to call her. But it's a bit like Steve Rogers, like him being in our timeline. He ended up he started swearing more often by Endgame.
Yeah, but he wasn't a racist ever, so I mean, I guess that's good. Like coming from
what is racism? Nothing to do with racism.
Because he's from the 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was never racist in the first place, even from the 40s. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
He's a
40s white guy. He was racist. I mean,
oh come on, man, that's a disservice.
That's the most unrealistic thing about Captain America is that he wasn't racist.
It's okay. Keep moving.
So yeah, the guys fill in 7. And she lets us know that she feels very constrained by the chain of command, that she doesn't feel like she's struggling with it. She asks, and says, how will I figure out how, to, not go with my gut and just blindly follow orders? And JL goes, well, if you figure that out, let me know. She takes them to the bridge and reveals that she rerouted them to the Righton system. They're where they need to be. But Captain Shaw wakes up and he's not happy. 7 lets them know that the guard will be gone in exactly 4 minutes so they can get on a shuttle and head into the nebula. Shaw comes to the bridge and locks the ship down, but too late. They get away. So apparently this Titan doesn't have a tractor beam.
I was thinking that, let alone a tractor beam, they could fucking transport their asses back on the ship, you know.
Yes.
You know, so
That's I actually didn't even think about that. That's a good catch.
yeah, I mean, like considering that that shuttle is part of that ship will be able to override whatever that shuttle does theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely. Put it on
yeah.
autopilot right back to the bay.
There's a couple of comments here, so we'll quickly
Nice.
get to. Daniel Vance saying same with meeting Cochrane and using idioms like take a leak, which Geordie didn't understand but found funny. Oh yeah, God, Geordie was full on fucking nerd regarding that. They couldn't transport them. The nebula was blocking. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
All right, fine.
Fair enough. Still kind of uses tractor beam. Maybe not transported, but they still get a tractor beam. Maybe.
The nebula could have refracted the waves.
I mean,
or
yeah,
something. Whatever the plot needed to happen.
I was about to say you can techno babble any reason why they couldn't. You're right about that. I mean,
It's not even that. Like, is that all of a sudden they act like they're marooned there, and the ship's running away? Like they can still catch them. You know, it
just lets them go.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Not my problem anymore. Go have your adventure, boys.
I can see Josh
they're not on my ship. They won't cause trouble. They won't cause me trouble. We cut to
Well, we got two open bunks again.
Do you think, by the way, we'll get any more 7 of 9 after this? Because I almost feel like she played her part.
I was thinking the same thing, and I was going to mention that when we got towards the end of the episode. Like, I don't know. Like, I hope we get more 7. I want more interaction. Like, I love it, and I was kind of sad that we didn't get any. I'm kind of sad that we didn't get any interaction, like any first officer camaraderie between 7 and Riker. You know, like even that one comment that 7's like, "How do I blah 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 blah?" But I go against my gut feelings and follow orders. And like Picard's when he says, "Like when you figure that out, let me know." Like that was Riker's line right there to her. Former first officer to first officer. That was Riker's line. He should have had it with 7, not Picard. I get
Riker's the more cheeky one, so of course he would have the tongue-in-cheek joke about it right there. That's out of character for Jean-Luc a little bit.
I agree.
So
also, I'm really upset that Ginger's not with us still because he would have loved this episode. There are so many fucking aliens in there. I mean, like I've never seen a starship vessel with so many fucking alien crew members. Usually the majority of them are human, but this one had so many. Like, wow, look, alien. What the fuck? There's aliens everywhere.
Some are new, some were ones we recognize. Like, Trill and Bajorans, but I don't know.
And Vulcans,
It's nice to see them trying for new aliens on a show set in what we think of as the modern Trek timeline and not the the older one that Disco came from.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to Rafi. She's been searching the database, trying to figure out who or where the Red Lady is. She's searched something like 23 times.
I know she Googled.
Basically, she's just Googling it is all she's doing.
And then I waited for Tony Stark to come out of nowhere and go, actually, I'm oogling.
She finally has the idea to search for events that are coming up.
I look forward to it.
So she sees that there's a Rachel Garrett statue unveiling coming up shortly.
And she was captain of Enterprise C.
That's correct, from yesterday's Enterprise.
So we get mention of the D, the C. Do we get mention of the? We don't get mention of the B. We see the Enterprise D, and I think we see the Enterprise E. Like not the actual ships, but like representations of those ships.
Yeah,
I think the Sovereign class was somewhere on that shelf of ships or whatever. There was Connie class. There was traditional Connie classes on there. I think they were either refit or original from the original series. So there's Like every ship except for the B, I think, was mentioned, which I'm sad about because I love.
So that statue of Rachel Garrett was the Red Lady, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Come to
The
think
Red
of it,
Lady was a target.
I've only realized now that was the Red Lady.
That was the target. And Rafi makes it too late to warn anybody or save the day. The weapons get used, and they use this quantum tunnel and really bad CGI to represent the building sinking down and then falling, further away. And
it reminded me of Portal.
Yes, it was like they opened up a portal. And
I actually thought I thought it was brilliant. I've never seen anything like that in live action, so to speak. When it comes to terrorist forms, I've seen Portals before.
Dude, that was wicked.
Like obviously with Stephen Strange doing it, but never like that. That was amazing.
Concept's cool AF, but the execution I thought looked rough. I don't know.
Really. Oh, fair enough. I mean, that was just amazing. Like the way they did it, and I don't know why they did it there. Any explanations, guys, why they went after that particular spot?
It was just it sounded like it was like a recruitment center. I don't know. I mean, it was, what did they say? They said recruitment center or something like that when she was communicating with it. Maybe it was just an easy target, like, because it wasn't on Earth, was it? It was in Section 7. I don't know.
I thought it was on Earth.
Was it on Earth?
It felt like it was on Earth.
Okay, so here's my thing. Like, so where was Raffi at? Or what planet was she on? I didn't catch where she was on originally.
She was on Matala Prime.
Do we know where that is? Is that outskirts of Federation space, outside Federation space? Do we know?
I've never heard of that planet.
Okay, so this is one of my issues though, and this also goes back to earlier in the episode where the Titan warps to the edge of Federation space. Federation space from Earth is huge. Like you're not making it there. I'm pretty sure that you cannot make it from the Earth to the edge of Federation space in just a couple hours. I think it takes 2 days. I think I've heard. Like like people have actually figured it out. Like how they took how far, the Federation, like technically Federation is, and I mean these are all fictional things.
Obviously. We're talking 9.9 if you go. Warp 9.9.
Yeah, but even Warp 9.9, I mean, you're still talking about a while to get the edge of Federation space. And they have the same issue in the J.J. Abrams movies where it's like Spock was on a planet and he's watching Vulcan get destroyed, but he's on some other technically planet. It's like, no, that's not how
space works.
Yeah, that's not how space works. You know what I mean? So I do, and as I said, it's another nitpick. It didn't break the episode for me, but at least in the TV show, they respected the distance between, they never said, oh, they would at least say, like, we're going to the edge of Federation space. Oh, that's going to take 18 hours or 22 hours or, and then you do the time skip. At least they honor that time frame. In this one, I mean, yeah, they did go to bed. So it might have been a day, maybe. But I want to say it takes 2 days to get to the edge of Federation space. Either way, anyway, it's kind of almost, and it depends on where, because Federation space is huge, and then it tails down and around and back, and it's, if you look at the beta canon Federation map, that's kind of the most accurate one based off of all the canon material. Federation space is kind of a mess, but so you don't, as long as you need to know where you're going and everything, and just I don't know. Anyway, long story long, but it's just
this is, by the way, what I discovered from Jesse Gender. The Metalis Prime was a new planet named after the showrunner Terry Metalis. Yes, very egocentric. Some of these people within these producers. And by the way, when you watch the credits for Star Trek Picard, the amount of producers, man, it's like, what producer?
I know they even had Eugene Roddenberry on there.
There's a correlation between number of producers and quality of a show, and that's a negative ratio. That's not a positive ratio.
Yeah, for sure.
So Rafi is equal parts shocked and horrified. I think we're getting like kind of a setup for how will she cope with this, couple, because she said how much she had been fearing this would happen earlier when she was talking
Well,
to the handler.
I mentioned earlier that regarding 709, if she would be done after this scene, but if there's anyone who has a reason to get 709 back into the frame and has also still got a part to play in this show, because we really don't know what the fuck's going on with her, it's Raffi. So well, let's hope. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really too interested in any of her scenes, but the moment we saw her at that planet, and whether it was Earth or not, and that building getting destroyed the way it did, that was probably the best scene with her in it. Other than that, I didn't give a fuck about her. I just wanted to get back to Picard and Riker. I mean, that's what it's all about.
They've got one season's worth of story for Rafi, and they've done the same one twice already, and it looks like they're going to do the same plot again. It's just Rafi's got a problem with drugs and discipline, and she, ends up ostracizing herself from her family or her other loved ones. Now she's lost 7 of 9. It's the same plot over and over.
No, look, I'm going to take a guess and say maybe in the summer.
Moon. Not soon enough is the answer.
Man, my guess is in the summer, because season 3 was in the summer. So that's where I think it's going to come. I think it came out in August last year, didn't it?
Through October is what I think they run it.
So definitely latter half of this year.
So Picard and Number 1 find Bev's ship. The life sign scans reveal she's in rough shape. They make another "we're old men" joke, and then they board the ship. We hear another classic song, and Picard reveals that he made Bev a mixtape at some point. We're talking some real Empire Records shit right here. Mixtape is the sincerest form of love.
And we saw those bad guys getting disintegrated earlier by Beverly Crusher.
Yeah.
And you could tell that they were bad guys just by their appearance. They've got a look on them. They've got a look about them, which makes.
Where'd everybody go?
Hello?
What happened?
What happened is Cheeto.
Hello?
What do you mean what happened is Cheeto?
Yeah, but you disappeared and then you tried to come back.
No, I did not.
You disappeared for me, then Zam disappeared.
You disappeared to me. And
okay, well, then it must be because I'm the one who hit the live button. I don't know. I mean,
okay.
You guys all froze, and then it restarted.
Oh, look, we're back. Nothing to worry about.
The new app's not used to how long ago it's saying wrap it up.
Can you guys see us in the chat? Can you see us?
We're still going. Yes. I'm looking at it on. Hold on.
Okay.
We're still going. I saw it. So.
This goddamn Melon app it's a lot cheaper than StreamYard, but it has its bugs to it, I would say.
Yeah, we're good. People in the chat are saying.
Yeah. So Will breaks down the fight from earlier where Bev was a complete badass, used the environment as a distraction, got the brutal execution style kill. He does it like a CSI mixed with Sherlock Holmes. Jean-Luc goes to the bridge, but Riker is taken from behind by presumably the crewman that Beverly locked away at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
So Jean-Luc goes to the bridge, and she's in a Bacta tank, healing up, and a Mexican standoff ensues.
You're mixing Star Wars into my Star Trek, man. I can't take it.
I was actually thinking. You mentioned back the tank, but I was actually thinking more that because like Beverly Crusher's come across as a bit of a badass in this episode, I was thinking more Ellen Ripley, like at the beginning of Aliens, where they find her in that hibernation chamber.
Mad Ripley vibes when she first got that rifle out.
Yeah. Recently, like the latter periods of Beverly, she's come across as a bit of a badass, like somebody who's very capable of dealing with hostile situations. We saw that in First Contact as well. So I'm very happy to see this side of her. More of it, please.
I mean, on TNG, she went on a stealth mission with Picard and
Yeah.
Worf. I mean, I mean, it's not super out of character, but I mean, it still was a little over the top in the beginning, if you ask me.
I half expect Beverly to awaken to only Picard, and at the end of the conversation, they say that she doesn't have another son. Okay, well,
I'm sorry. That actor who they picked to play that guy looks a lot like Tom Hardy.
Well, and also not just that, but the way she like kept him safe when those guys boarded the ship, like she locked him away. You know, it makes more sense now. She wanted to keep him safe instead of being involved in the fight, like a mum. So yeah.
Yep. So he comes in. Picard talks him down. He reveals that he's Beverly's son, allegedly. But who's the dad?
If Picard is in it, it's definitely Picard.
I mean, as I said, the actor looks like Tom Hardy.
Accent.
Tom Hardy played Shinzon. I mean, come on.
I
can't believe we're doing this.
That's a whiff. That's like right over the plate. It's belt high. The foes hunting them always have a different face, allegedly. Then the massive insectoid ship comes up. We cue the
more
credits.
Evil.
The Picard theme song morphs into the TNG theme music. We get Easter eggs and references to the current season on the ship display screens and whatnot. And end of episode.
I just want to say that they're bad. They're bad guy because the ship coming out of the cloud, it looks like some sort of tarantula in space. All crooked and it's all black and stuff like that. Evil.
It was very Nero mining ship looking. I'm like, are we really doing this? Like, I'm like, I was halfway. Like, I've seen that ship in the trailers, and I was kind of like, I was hoping that it would be something different in the show. Like there was a fake out. Like they had some fake ship that looks menacing, but then when it comes through, it's like the Enterprise E, or I mean something stupid. Like I get it. Like that's a dumb idea, but like something more shocking than bad guy ship copy and paste B. Like okay.
Yeah.
Well, the enemy ship underside at the end looked exactly like the old fat Enterprise minus the saucer section.
I did notice that it looked like it had some kind of deflector dish on the bottom. So,
for Annie refers to Annie Wershing, who played multiple roles throughout Star Trek, including the Borg Queen in the last season. Oh yes, of course she did. Yes. When she died, that was so sad. Fantastic. And by the way, talking about actresses who passed away, rest in peace, Raquel Welch. If there was somebody to fucking, to really admire who was stunningly beautiful back in the day, oh my fucking god, Raquel Welch is like perfection personified. I would go back in time just to try and hit on her. You know what I mean? She's just gorgeous. Rest in peace, Raquel Welch. What a beautiful woman and a decent actress to boot. That was great. I like that. Very good. I'm glad you did. Vancy also says we see the USS Constance in the outro. Lost on Stardate 44002.03. That was like yesterday, I believe. This has to be Battle of Wolf 359. Another ship pulled through space time to who knows where or when. Oh, goodness.
What?
Time travel is just gonna ruin my brain. But let's just get back to my opinion. The boy who is Beverly's son. We'll
just call him not Wesley for right now.
Wesley Crusher's half brother, and that's really interesting. And I'm not sure about you guys, but did you really see some sort of possible chemistry between? I mean, not chemistry, but like will they, won't they, to a degree, sort of sing between Beverly and Picard?
I never liked
during
that
Star
pairing.
Trek.
I never wanted that pairing. I never liked that pairing, honestly.
I think that was more referred to after TNG went off the air and the season finished, I really never really felt it was there, so to speak, that as much as people assumed it was, and people made a bigger deal of it after the season.
It was heavily referenced in season 1, episode 3, actually, when like the was it the Naked Now, like when and Beverly was like all hot and heavy for Picard, and even Picard was kind of losing his little jubblies there, where he's like, she like had her thing zipped down, and but Jean-Luc, like
did they shag?
Gene's vision.
Yeah, Gene's vision right there. Yeah.
So
okay,
I guess any final thought of Daniel Vance?
That boy, do you think that boy is Picard's son?
I don't want it to be, but I think that's where they're going to go with it, because I think that's about the best they've got.
Well, he mentioned he regarding legacy, and he is the last of the Picards, unfortunately, right. Because his the Picard line is going to end with him because his brother died and his nephew and niece or nephews died. So it really is him. So in a way, the Picard line can continue if that is his son. So it's gonna be interesting to see if that pans out. My money is yes. I don't know what.
I mean that's a given. It would honestly be more of a swerve if it wasn't Picard's son. I
still have no idea what the fuck's going on with this show. I mean, obviously nothing's. It's the first episode.
They're trying to find Bev. That's I mean, that's it. Like, and somebody's after Bev.
The bigger picture, of course. Yeah, but I really hope it makes sense. Whatever happens, I just hope it makes sense. Please don't fucking make it convoluted. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Make it make sense, please. I beg you. You know what I mean? That's all that matters. So
don't make Zam think. He begs you.
No. Please don't do me a disservice. It needs to make sense. Sometimes like I don't need stuff to be explained to me. Like like when that building got destroyed. We all knew it was a portal. It could, for some people watching that, they might not know what the fuck was going on, but it wasn't explained, and which was good. But we just saw it for what it is, and we had to understand it ourselves. I don't mind that, I mean. But this story, like these sort of like 10-episode stories, it's gonna be very grandiose. All these different characters are going to come into play. We know Law's going to come into play. Moriarty's going to come into play. All of these sort of things. We have no idea what the fuck Raffi's doing and how that's going to be connected to the main plot. If it does, or if it's just a separate B story, who knows? But it just needs to fucking make sense. It needs to make proper fucking sense what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? For why Beverly Crusher is hiding from Starfleet and stuff like that. And
she's not hiding from Starfleet. She's just said no Starfleet. And obviously these people so far are not Starfleet. She's not technically hiding from Starfleet, but yeah, I mean, it is implied because she says no Starfleet.
Yeah, she doesn't trust Starfleet right now, so.
Okay, fair enough, but still, let's just make it work, make it good. Please just make it make sense. I've gone on about that too much, but yeah, that's all I give a fuck about. But right now, so far, still kept in the dark, still theorizing. It's good fun to theorize. Once the cat's out the bag, then it's a whole different ball game after that. And we won't know if it was worth the fucking journey that we're going to be going on this show. But I look forward to seeing some of them other cast members popping in. Maybe we'll get Geordie LaForge next week.
Hopefully.
Maybe Worf.
Actually, I did want to bring up a theory, a quick theory earlier, like a more rational theory, based on the trailers. I think that the person Raffi's actually talking to is Worf, because there's a sequence in one of the trailers where Raffi and Worf are training, and I feel like that might be because she called him he called her a warrior. So I thought that during the episode, I'm like, he called her a warrior, and I'm like, this sounds like something Worf would say. So anyway, I mean, I hope it's Bashir, but probably Worf.
All right.
Are there any other points you guys wanted to discuss or aspects of the episode?
Nope. Let's rank it, baby. Let's take it home.
Yeah,
All
rank
right.
it. You got a poll. You got a poll out.
It's already out there, Big Daddy.
Let's have a
Wonderful.
look. Okay, so I'll start with you, Cheetah.
Well, Mage is actually hosting. He is the host of the year. So he is the host of the year
Yeah.
Don't make me
2022.
blush
He
again.
gets to
Well,
choose who goes first.
Yeah, no doubt. But I was giving him like he
had
looked a bit
I had
bewildered.
dead air.
You know,
I
like he
wasn't
looked
sure
like
if we were going to go to the poll first or us first, but we will start with let's start with you, Cheeto. Just for
I'm going to give it an
context.
8. I mean, it was great nostalgia. There was a couple plot points that I mentioned here that I was like, what? Like, really? Like, is this what we're doing? But truth be, why is my name Zam again? But truth be told, I truly enjoyed this episode. But I'm probably going to settle on an 8. Maybe in retrospect, if next week's is better. I mean, if the episodes age better, then maybe. But I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay, Zam.
Yeah, I second that. I'm also giving it an 8. I very happy with this episode. It was good to see some old characters back. Like I said before, we have seen Riker in Picard before, so we're not treading new ground with him. But it was also good to see Beverly Crusher back. Nice twist regarding the sun. Nice twist regarding the destruction of that building. Some good bits and bobs here. A nice twist even with Raffi going undercover and not being a drug addict, too. You know, maybe
trying something new.
The Picard son, as I said, and it's not confirmed to be the son, but the guy looks like Tom Hardy, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be
Picard. No, I'm just saying. I never said it was Picard's son. I meant Beverly's son. Like she's had more. She's got another kid.
Yeah, I mean that's fine, but and remember they even made very very specific point in the episode to mention she just disappeared 20 years ago and didn't talk to any of us. It's like, why?
He looks like. If that kid was 21, 22, he looks a bit older than that. He looks like he's like 27, 28, personally. But all right, we'll go with it. So once again, we'll see how things pan out. But yeah, I did enjoy this episode. Listening to that music again gives me those goosebumps and all of that. It makes me proud to be a Star Trek fan and watching all of these things and seeing all these things come together. But I'm just making sure I'm always reining myself back in and saying, prepare for disappointment because it's just around the fucking corner, especially with this fucking show. Even though they're going all in with all the nostalgia bait, it could still end up being a big pile of fucking shit. Anyway, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. What about you, Mage?
6 out of 10.
Oh,
wow.
Man.
Mage is bringing down the hate.
Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur is not happy with the episode either. I had to stop it several times because it was just making me mad. Like I was raging. Like we have to make the healer go full blown warrior woman. Not even 3 minutes into the episode, channeling her inner Ripley, grabbing a rifle that then proclaims in like one of the biggest tactical, why would a weapon designer make a weapon and announce that it was out of ammo? The enemy's just gonna love that knowledge.
I agree with you. I never thought of it like that, but yeah.
The nostalgia so far has it seemed to just be to get us to come to the table. I don't think they're doing anything clever with it other than having the really great chemistry between Riker and Jean-Luc and their kind of odd couple, Felix and Oscar thing. I feel like it's the best thing of the episode. No, it aggravated me several times. I don't get why we have to have a Blade Runner type planned sequence. It feels, I don't get why things have to be so dark and gritty in Trek for Picard. Like, it doesn't feel like Trek right now for me.
Daniel Vance, what are you giving it, by the way? Major Jim's giving it a 10.
Of course.
Of course he is.
It's Trek. Of course it's a 10.
Yeah. I'm really shocked actually because until you marked it, I had no idea how much of a disappointment you found this episode. All right, 6 is still above average.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it definitely beats no Star Trek for sure. But it's just, I don't know. It's not dragging the legacy through the mud yet, but I see it going south and us hitting something as stupid as Agnes eating car batteries again.
Oh my god. That's a good point, by the way. By the way, what was the last Star Trek we had? Was it Disco or Lower Decks?
It was
No, it wasn't. It was neither. It was Prodigy.
Prodigy. Yeah,
Prodigy, yeah.
I mean, anything's better than Prodigy at this point. Jesus God.
Yeah, Prodigy in small doses. So like this feels like main event when you get regarding the Picard. It really does. So
I think
it's just
Strange
good
New
to-
World season 2 is going to be main event. I think.
Oh Lord, that's gonna be.
No, that's also main event. That's also main event. You know, but like this also feels like it too. You know, like with the cast, and you can tell like they're really putting a lot of effort into making this one work, considering the sort of hate they've been getting for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, but they're trying to give us what everybody always wanted out of this show, and that was the Next Generation reunion. I'm afraid that it's too little, too late for me.
Do you think what's her face is going to come back? The girl who played Sung's daughter,
and she was the android, the synth in season 1. Probably.
She was a twin, wasn't she? Yeah, because she's still around. That Romulan kid, he died, didn't he? They couldn't save him.
Right.
And I thought that was a bad. They couldn't save him, could he? And also I didn't like was the fact that
what Rami? You talking about
Elnor?
Like the
first Romulan to join Starfleet. What was his name?
Yeah, the one who looks like he belongs in Lord of the Rings.
Elnor.
He was.
His name sounds like he belongs in Lord of the Rings.
Of Picard.
He died, didn't he?
Right.
They didn't save him, but I think when Q took them back, I think Q did something to save him, right?
No, the person who got saved was Seven. She had to, because she lost all her implants, but
Elnor was back at the end of season 2 of Picard, sitting at the table with them, and he was going off to.
Oh yes. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Seven getting all her implants back. I think you want to progress the story and her not having the implants anymore and no longer being under being more human finally and less Borg. I think that would have been a good progression for her, but no, they had to put all the fucking implants back for fuck's sake. Anyway, that's how it goes. So anyways, all right, so I think we're done.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. I want to thank everybody that joined us in the chat this evening, anybody that was lurking and watching the show. Thank you to all our viewers that see it after the fact. Just what do we have coming down the pipe, Cheeto? Sam, anything?
We are going at some point, maybe this weekend, I believe, we will try and get a Ant-Man WrestleMania, or I like to call it WrestleMania, it's Quantum Mania. But Ant-Man Quantum Mania review for you guys. It might be recorded, it might be live. We'll see how it goes. Because it's at theaters and it's not like on a scheduled show on television. All of us have to watch it when we can at some particular point. We'll try and get a review out for you for that, and obviously more fan films. Last of Us back next week.
Last of Us review on Monday. Quantum Leap's not back
Quantum
yet.
Leap.
Bad Batch
Jim
on
can join me.
Wednesday.
Bad Batch on Wednesdays, yeah.
And then back to Picard on Thursday.
Back to Picard on Thursday, and who knows what else will be coming out between now and then. I'm sure there's something we've missed out, but we'll let you know once it comes out.
Do so much different types of content here, from comics to wrestling to sci-fi, RPGs,
the dramas. Like the Tulsa King, goodness! If you not, you gotta watch that.
I've got to check that out. You recommended it highly, so Gotta check it out.
If you like gangsters, if you like your gangster dramas, and it's like gangster black comedy, so to speak. Yeah, definitely worth a watch. It's amusing in the right way. You know what I mean? In the dark sort of Tarantino sort of style of way. It's
I was
amusing
actually
that
wrong.
way.
Quantum Leap is back on Tuesday.
Yeah,
well, Quantum Leap's back on Monday. Review on Tuesday. So.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
always something to look forward to here on NerdTube. Thank you so much.
13 days until Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, I'm sure Strange and I'm thinking Invasion as well will be coming out soon.
Secret of it, they have not put a date on that yet. There's no date yet.
Yeah, Mandalorian, and we're already halfway through this month. Yeah, Mandalorian.
13 days, less than 2 weeks.
Wow, can't wait for that. You know what I mean? Can't wait for that. It's gonna be fun.
No. So if any of what we've been talking about sounds interesting, make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button and then the bell icon so you get all of our notifications. Tell us in the comments below what you thought about the episode. Were we spot on? Were we wrong? Is all my hate justified? Or am I just being an old stick in the mud 40-year-old boomer? Just let us know in the comments. You've been watching NerdTube, the best channel that you've kind of sort of never heard of. Catch you later.